is Janet with Try It Like You Create It, and today we're going to be doing some work with napkins and coating them, making them kind of sheer as well as plasticky quality, I guess would be a good way to describe it, for mixed media. And so I have an empty cup here, and I'm just using some plain old white school glue, and I'm going to add water to this. So just a good amount, and then we want to water that down. Let me move the glue out of the way and open up my water. And I am just kind of guessing on this mixture. That might be a little too much water, and if so, I'll add some more glue into it. But we just want to make basically some water glue, and I think that needs a little bit more glue in there. So let me bring that back in. And I have already separated out the napkins that I'm going to use here. And some napkins have different amounts of ply to them. You just peel off the excess white pieces, so you're down to just the patterned piece. And then the other thing I have here is I'm working on some acetate. This is just like for running it through your printer at home, for making like overhead projecting and so forth. So really any kind of flat piece of plastic, and we're probably glaring here. And then I have this napkin from the Dollar Tree, and then this had a repeat pattern, so I cut them apart. It had this pattern on both sides of the napkin, and so I just cut them down to make them work a little bit better. And then this one, we're going to need to cut it down as well, because it's a little too big for the 8.5 by 11 sheet that I'm working on here. So once you pull your napkins apart, then you're going to want to keep the excess, because you can use that for cleaning up, wiping your hands, all kinds of good kinds of things to use those for. So to begin, what we're going to do is just put a really nice coat of this kind of watery glue onto our plastic. And you don't have to be so forgiving, just to make sure that you have more coverage than the size of your napkin itself. So just trying to check out how much I've got down here. I need a little bit more coverage here on each end. And I've got 2 sheets of acetate, so I'm having a little bit of a hard time deciding where the end of the acetate is. But okay, so then to place your piece of napkin down on it, what we want to do is start in the middle, and since this has a fold, that's a nice place to start, and then we'll just let it fall into place and push it down. All right, and now working from the center out, we're going to add another layer of this on top. Now, you could choose to keep these wrinkles in here if you want, or you can work to smooth them out. But whatever you decide, you just want to work gently, because that tissue layer is so darn thin that you could actually tear it as you're trying to manipulate it some. So I've got a good coverage here, and I'm able to move it a little bit with my brush, but I think I'm going to also try to move it here with my finger, and so I want to get my finger wet first before I start working on those. You can see right there I was too aggressive, and it just moved on me there. So with that in mind, we may just leave those wrinkles in there and let them be a part of our project. But the one thing you do want to do is just make sure that everything is covered, and then also that all of your air bubbles are out, and you can run your finger across that and feel that as well. So there's our first one. And I have some control over moving these wrinkles, but it doesn't seem to be a whole lot. So keeping that in mind, I'm just going to leave them there, and we're going to set that aside and let that dry for a day, and then we'll come back tomorrow and peel that off of our plastic. All right, so now just to find a place to put it. Here, let me lay that down. All right, and now, like I said, if you keep your excess, you can use it then to clean yourself up a bit, as well as your table. And I seem to have glue on the bottom of this sheet, so I'm going to clean that off. All right, so now for this one, I'm going to go this way, I think. Let me see how this napkin fits on here. Well, it's white at the top, and I don't know that I care that much about all that excess white, so I think we're going to be okay going this way. And ultimately, I would like to try and get 2 of these on here. And this time, I think I'm going to try laying it down from the end that I want to keep here. And just push it down from here. And I'll go ahead and coat over this one. And then we'll work on the other one. All right, so I think everything is well covered here. I do have some wrinkles that I'm able to move with the brush fairly easily because there wasn't quite as many as from the other one. So that looks good. Now let's see if we can fit one more on here. I think we can. So I'm just going to move over a little bit here and then coat this plastic over here. All right, and since that seemed to work pretty well, I'm going to do the same technique here and start with the bottom, since that's what I want to keep. And then I'm just going to lightly roll it out. And I think I have a wrinkle again in the same exact spot, but that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to try to work out from the middle and see if I can manipulate some of those wrinkles out to the outer edge. And then this, once done, you could use it for card making, you can use it in scrapbooking, you can use it for mixed media collage. It's just a fun technique, another way to use up your napkins, and it kind of gives them some strength, and it also can make them dull or shiny depending on what you're doing. I'm using just water and glue, but you could do this with Mod Podge and you know, get the different surfaces depending on which kind of Mod Podge you use. And once again, you just want to make sure you don't have any air bubbles, because those will show. So I'm just kind of touching over these to make sure, and don't work too much with the tissue paper because, like I said, it can tear, although we've been fortunate here with our trial that we haven't messed up too much. And then once this is dry and we peel it up, we can also then you know, use it on a paper trimmer and trim it to whatever size we want. So I'm just feeling for wrinkles and air bubbles here with my finger. But I think whatever it is we have, we have. So I'm going to let that dry and then come back and show it to you tomorrow. So I've let these dry, and just to show you, I went ahead and pulled one off to see how that worked. And you can see that there's, hopefully you can see there's shiny side, that's the side that was down towards the plastic, and then the front. And so now this is pretty sturdy, and I can use that in my crafting. So one tip I found that worked really well here is that because I wasn't going to use this top edge, I didn't go ahead and glue it down, and it actually stuck off my page. But that made it easier to lift this up off of the plastic. So you just want to be careful and gentle, but having that edge really made this, I mean, look how easy this is to rip this off. And then just this little bit that comes off extra here, you just want to take your scissors and cut that off, and do so pretty right away, because what you don't want is you don't want that folding over to either side of the tissue, okay, because it will stick, and then you'll have an added layer of glue and adhesive there. Now these plastic sheets, you can just clean them off and use them again. So I'm just working on the edge there, and then I'm just going to take this to the trash here. All right, and then here's our other one, and let me bring it in here. All right, now this one, it had all the way around. So what we have to do is start in the corner, and actually that worked just as easily. I have seen others where they've had trouble with it, and you know, had to work at it. So this seems to be working pretty well for me, lifting this off of here, and I'm doing it quickly. You can see I'm starting to tear over here, so I need to stop and be careful. And I'm just going to start at this end here. Let's see how we go. All right, and then work our way over to where it was tearing. Yep, that's still tearing a little bit there. Okay, there, we got it. All right, so there's this one, and this one, remember, had the wrinkles in it, and I kind of like the look of that. Now here's the shiny side. That's, I'm going to call that the back side. All right, so I'm just going to get that off to the side, get these out of here so they don't flare. And then I just want to show you the difference of trying to grab a piece of white. Let me see here. White. This is scrap piece, but you get the idea here. All right, so here is this napkin on a white background, and then I found this one in my stock, and I like the gradation, and sorry for that bouncing there, but look how pretty this this is on here. Oh my gosh, look at that in comparison to the white. Now the white is fine, it's white, crisp, clear, but that is beautiful. Now it's also translucent, so if you put anything underneath, like let's say you stamp a sentiment or something underneath here, you can see that it's going to show through. So that's another fun thing that you could do, is to layer by putting a stamped underneath instead of on top. Both will work, but that's kind of a neat idea. And then I don't know, it looks like this is starting to sparkle a little bit, so I might actually finish this off as a card, put some sparkle on it, stamp something on it, or, you know, add something to the top, or just leave it as a plain card. And this is something I do quite often, is just leave it as a plain card so that I can go back in and add a sentiment when I am ready to use the card. So both of those are options there. So I just wanted to show you this fun kind of new to me technique. Maybe you have seen it before, but just using, you know, glue and water and your napkins gives you another way to use your napkins. So I hope you enjoyed it.